This is the best experience, and with your host, Nick Best and the Angry Dad. And before we get into today's podcast, I'd like to thank Barbell Apparel, premium athletic wear engineered for performance with a tailored athletic fit, refined clothing for an athletic body type. These clothes feel good, they breathe, and you know what? They fit. And you get hooked up at Barbell Apparel/best. Evolution Athletics, a supportive gear company owned by Brian Shaw, four-time world's strongest man. We believe in all athletes and supporting their journey towards greatness, and that greatness includes the support of the gear that you need. So get hooked up at Evolution Athletics. Link is in the notes. First Phorm. Our mission is to help real people get real long-term results. You can go to First Phorm, use the link in the notes. It really helps us out. If you want to be coached by world's strongest man, 10-time competitor Nick Best, Masters World's Strongest Man Nick Best, World Powerlifting Champion Nick Best. Well, guess what? You can get that knowledge, that wealth of experience to help take you to the next level. You know what I'm saying? You want to get to that next level. You want to keep it together. You want to keep it nice and tight from somebody who's lived it, been in it, and been doing it. What's that Henry Rollins saying? Knowledge without experience.
This is bullshit.
There we go. Well, guess what? He's got all the knowledge and the experience, so you know it's right on point. So you can use the link in the notes. It really helps us out. You know what? We appreciate it. And with that all being said, let's get into today's podcast. Right. You know, Nick, you got a new package getting ready to show up, and I'm going to be there when it shows up this week. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? So we're going to definitely be constructing a new apparatus to help you with your training.
I know. I'm excited. I'm getting an ice bath.
That's it. Hey, you know, and with ice baths, you know what I'm saying?
Portable ones. So
yeah, well, hey, let me tell you right now, like, it's nice to be able to take it down and move it when you can, because when you have something that's constructed in there, guess what? That space is just can't be utilized. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know, it unfortunately that's the name of the game when it comes to owning your equipment, having a home gym, having, like, you know, every piece of equipment that can take you to the next level. Because guess what? If you can't train with it on a regular basis, you're not going to be able to excel at it. But with a portable ice bath, you can like, oh, we're having a party. Oh, I need to make some room. I need to move it. Exactly. Yeah. We can drain it, pack it up, move it to the side. Honestly, even take it with us when we go on these things when you start competing out there. You know what I'm saying?
No, that'll be good too. Yeah, because we can pack it up, take it, and then set it up. We can set it up in the hotel room.
Yeah, you see what I'm saying?
You know, and then you put the lid on, and if it's cool in the room, and you put the lid on, because I got the thermal lid that comes with it. It'll save the ice for up to 3 days. So
you living out in Vegas, you know what I'm saying?
It won't do it outside.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it'll probably save it for like a day outside on the patio because I got the sun covered, but it's still pretty hot out here.
Oh yeah, no, it definitely is. And that's the thing is, like, when you were coming up in the ranks, when you're excelling, when you first started, because you got to really think, what was the aspect of thought of recovery then? You know what I'm saying? Because, like, you got to imagine, like, we don't know half the shit that we know now that then.
Yeah,
so, like,
this is true. Yeah, this is true. I think a couple things, like for recovery wise for me, I've always kind of used ice, but usually it was just put a body part in or put an ice bag on, not the full submersion, because I can't stand being cold. I think anybody who's on the TV show realizes that.
Buckets of ice.
Yeah. And then what you don't see is Eddie dumping the extra bucket on me in the end after I got all dried off and warm and then running out of the room. The producer
for his life.
They thought that was too mean, so they didn't put it in there. But yeah, I don't like being cold, but it's something now I don't have a choice. I have to get over it. With having one kidney, I can't take any inflammatories. I can't take aspirin, can't drink alcohol. There's so many things I can't do, but I can take an ice bath. And so ice bath to relieve the inflammation, you know, in my tendons, ligaments, joints, stuff like that. And to a certain degree, even the muscle pain, which, yes, I'm aware of the new report that just came out and went kind of crazy about ice baths. And I'm going to tell you this. These experts have no idea what they're talking about.
There we go. What are the experts even saying? That's
so they're basically saying it stops the protein uptake and some other things right after training so that it slows down the recovery of the muscle.
Yes, from the old saying of rice.
Correct. Well, guess what? I hate to break their bubble, but it doesn't matter how fast. If it takes one extra day for the muscle to heal, it doesn't matter. Everybody's so concerned about how fast muscle heals. And it's the whole industry is off into left field on chasing the wrong thing. It's easy to research. It's easy to look into, which is why they do it. The true thing is your tendons and ligaments. The true thing is your tendons and ligaments.
And it's something you preach a lot about.
The true thing is the tendons and ligaments. We know if you get an injury, let's say you tear a muscle, it takes your muscle between 8 and 16 weeks to like fully heal, and like that where that was sewn back together, or like when I had my abdominal surgery for my hernia, the doctor was saying it would be fully, the scar that he cut will be just as strong as it was before he cut it, 8 to 12 weeks after the surgery, which I was kind of like, but yeah, okay, I get that. But when I tore my lat off, I mean, that thing couldn't handle heavy weights for 6 months. And so it heals, probably tendons typically heal 3 to 4 times slower than muscle. So if muscle can heal in 2 days, that means tendons are going to heal between 6 and 8 days from a hard workout. And no one is talking about it. That's why all these people overtrain, they do this and they got to get more in, they got to get more in. That's why the muscle always gets stronger faster than the connective tissue, which will destroy your longevity. It has to get strong at the same time. There's nothing other than collagen that will help you really rebuild your tendons and ligaments, and which these guys make unbelievable collagen. That will make that heal. And there's nothing really other than maybe a couple of compounds that make tendons and stuff heal faster. So if you're trying to work out a muscle group twice or even 3 times a week, you're setting yourself backwards. The muscle is going to get stronger faster. And if it does that 4, 5, 6 years in a row, you're going to have this really strong muscle and this connective tissue that can't handle it. And that's why these kids that skyrocket up on the middle of nowhere, they come up, they shoot to the top, and then they get break, they get hurt. And then, or athletes that have been out of it for a little while and go and do another sport and then come back to it and try to get right up to the top in less than a year, blow stuff off the bone.
Yeah.
Muscle can't, if the muscle gets stronger faster than the connective tissue, you will create long-term injuries that will keep happening. You have to get strong at a rate that your tendons and ligaments can handle it. And this is the biggest issue with the industry. It doesn't matter in bodybuilding because they're not lifting stupid poundages.
Yeah, they're not putting on heavy weight. They're literally just building muscle. They're not worried about like progressive overload of what you guys are doing in a competition.
Correct. And they're also not worrying about running a sprint down the field and making a cut to catch a football or soccer or rugby. It's not athletic. It's which, you know, it's kind of like all the people online that try to bitch about my rows and my lat pull downs when I'm training back. But you look at primates do not move like a bodybuilder in nature. Again, primates do not move like a bodybuilder in nature. If you watch, what's the thing where the show where they,
American Ninja Warrior?
American Ninja Warrior. If you watch that, these guys aren't like, they're out here swinging this way. They're not doing like full extensions. They can, but they're not doing their athletic event like a bodybuilder. Bodybuilders are there to specifically shape and grow a muscle in a certain direction to look a certain way on the human body. And I wish the general population would figure this out and understand this because they're so misinformed. If you want to be athletic, training like a bodybuilder is not going to do it.
Which is true because like we just had Coach Ken on last week, and he was talking about, like I said, football players, You know what I'm saying? You got to think about basketball players, baseball players. Like they're not bodybuilder shape. They might have muscles, but a lot of these guys are doing Olympic lifting. They're doing dynamic lifting because they're trying to increase what they're doing. They're doing explosive power movements.
Explosive speed with weight.
That's it.
You have baseball pitchers now that they discovered that they'll take a weight in the hand that's like the size of a baseball and throw it, go through the throwing motion, full speed, and then pull it down and hold on to it. And it actually makes their throwing arm better. You know, and that's about as snappy as you could get for something, you know?
Exactly.
It drives me crazy. I can't throw the way I used to anymore. And I used to throw the javelin and the discus and the football. I used to throw football forever, but it's the movements are dynamic.
Yeah.
You know, it's speed. You're trying to pull things as fast as you can. Can I do more weight? Yep. Can I do it that same weight and do it strict? Yeah, I can do the same weight and do it strict for less reps, but I'm not trying to do things slowly. I mean, in strongman, we pick things up and go fast. In powerlifting, the goal is you load the spring and then you explode out of it.
Yep.
You know, everything's that way. It's explosive power to be athletic. And tendons and ligaments are what hold all that together.
Yeah, it's what makes the movement happen. You know what I'm saying? The muscles support the weight, but you know what I'm saying? Well, what guides the movement? You know what I'm saying?
Right. And so if you're an athlete and you train like super hard, super heavy, more than once a week on any area that you're working on, you're going backwards. You know, so I mean, if you take a fighter, like an MMA fighter, which I've worked with a couple of those, I mean, they should have an upper body day and a lower body day, and that's it. Yeah. You know, and a couple exercises and things that training methods that apply to them as well. Like, you know, it's funny, like a truck pull for MMA is brilliant because it's all out exertion for them for 90 seconds, 60 seconds, because you're pulling a vehicle it's going to take them everything in their body to get that wet.
Everything engaged.
Yeah, you get used to doing that. You do that 2 or 3 times, you get in a fight and you expend a little bit of energy. You're not going to expend the energy that you're spending pulling a truck. Yep. You're just not. And you're going to be able to recover from it faster and still have gas in the tank. And when you need that extra bit, when you're rolling with somebody to like go all out on it, you can. To put somebody over the edge when you can feel them starting to fail and know that if you go all out for the next 20 seconds, they're going to crush, they're going to break. Yeah. It's stuff like that makes the big difference. But again, it comes back to recovery and stuff like that. I wouldn't have them do that more than once a week. Yeah. And carry and drag, same thing. If you can pick up a sandbag that's as heavy as your heaviest opponent. So if you're a heavyweight fighter in the UFC, if you can pick up a 260 pound sandbag, or 280 because say guy cuts weight and gets his water back.
You get that rehydration.
Yeah. A 280 pound sandbag and you run with that 25 meters, drop that in a tire and then drag that tire backwards. The way you're able to function under duress is going to change. That's it. And it's not something you need to do all the time, but it's also going to develop muscle. It's also going to develop strength and stuff like that. So you get strength and endurance. And that's it. You know, heavy squats one week, heavy deadlifts the next week.
And people need to remember too, is like strength and muscle shape don't correlate. They're completely different. You know what I'm saying? So like, we want to make sure that we get that straight because like, you know, we reference bodybuilders, they build muscle, but the thing is building muscle and building strength, they do go hand in hand, but they don't line up the majority of the time because there's a lot of difference between, you know, a strength athlete and a bodybuilder, you know what I'm saying?
Then you have the freaks of the freaks. You have Ed Cohen, Kurt Kozlowski, and Bull Stewart, and what's his name? Oh, he's gonna kill me. I'll get back to it, but because I was just looking at him, he's here in Vegas training for EDC. He's training with Joe Sullivan today. And even Joe Sullivan, I mean, Joe Sullivan looks jacked. I mean, they all, but you can have a guy you're not going to have a guy that's super strong, that doesn't look pretty good or be pretty big.
Mm-hmm.
But you can have a big guy that doesn't look very strong, that isn't very strong. So that's kind of the thing, but it all comes down to getting the muscle getting stronger at the same rate as the connective tissue.
Yeah.
If you're getting stronger faster than your connective tissue can, if you don't get your connective tissue healing right, that's where all your nightmares come true.
Exactly.
That's where that's the biggest goal. That's the biggest challenge. And everybody sells the industry. Everybody sells how fast muscle needs to recover.
Yeah.
And that's not the case.
Yeah.
That's why when you get into an ice bath, right after you're done training, it really doesn't matter. It's not going to affect how fast you get stronger in the long run, because technically you shouldn't be working that out intently twice a week. Now, sports, you're doing running, you're doing a lot of stuff, but still really in a football week, you have 1 to 2 really hard practices and the rest is just conditioning stuff. A lot less stress on your joints and tendons and ligaments and stuff like that. Yeah. It's just trying to get your cardiovascular output up. So big difference. So yeah,
that's just one of those things. That's why we bring this up, because, like I said, we want to talk about the importance of recovery. Because, like I said, we used to know little to nothing then. Everyone just kind of did stuff on how they felt. But now that there's a little more science behind it. But the thing is sometimes people depend a little too much on the article and not on the true facts of what people need to dig into.
Well, it's science. Well, okay. Okay, we've learned some things about science in the last 3 years.
That we did. But that's a completely different subject. but like the most
making money from the research and what their intentions are with the research.
Yeah.
And you really got to look at things. And when you see guys like Brian Shaw, ice baths, Eddie Hall, ice baths, Zydrunas Savickas, ice baths, Thor Bjornsson, ice baths. I mean, I hate them, ice bath. You have the elite of the elite of the elite in the world of strength.
That's it.
And this includes powerlifters and stuff too. There's a ton of powerlifters. Travis Ortmeyer, Mr. Ice Bath. Same thing with Chad Coy. And just all these guys. Yeah. When they have the proven track record,
you can't argue those facts, because that's the experience coming out.
Right, but the thing they're doing, they're not going back at day 3 and training the muscle again.
Yeah.
And that's the difference between what these guys, researchers, are trying to do. They want you to work out the moment that muscle's healed all the way. Well, it doesn't matter, because if the connective tissue isn't healed, you shouldn't be working out before the connective tissue's healed.
That's it.
Okay.
But like I said, that's why we bring this up.
But I just find it's hilarious that a multi-billion, probably hundreds of billions of dollar industry does this. So the question is how hard is it to really research tendon strength, and how much do they really know about how fast tendons heal and how the blood flow gets to it?
Even before we got on this podcast, you literally Googled it just to verify. You know what I'm saying? What was the first things that popped up?
Well, technically, I use DuckDuckGo because I don't use Google.
Yeah, well, you know what I'm saying.
1, I don't like my searches controlled, and 2, I don't like them selling and making money off of my searches.
That's it.
That ain't cool.
That's not.
So I used DuckDuckGo, did the searches, and like Mayo Clinic, tendonitis, and all these things come up for tendon injuries, but nothing. And I typed in, how long does it take tendons to heal from a hard workout? And there's literally nothing that pops up. 3 pages of stuff, and nothing came up. Maybe I need to go to page 20. I don't know.
Yeah, but those are the things that should be popping up, because, like I said, it's a legitimate question. Yeah, exactly. You put in the exact thing you wanted to know, and it didn't pop up. So it just lets you know right there that
So if there's an amazing doctor out there that knows this stuff, that sees this and knows the answer, by all means, let's talk about it and come on the show and we'll talk.
Exactly.
I want to learn more with this, but I know through my experience that those things aren't healed. I mean, I've literally torn 1 tendon. 1. all the rest of my injuries with muscle tears and stuff like that, I've literally torn the muscle. Both my biceps, one from pitching baseball when I was a kid, and the other one from cleaning an axle, that was a muscle belly that tore. My pec when it tore, that was a muscle belly. The hernia in my abdomen that I got, that was a muscle belly. My calf, the soleus when that tore, they're all muscle bellies. My connective tissue isn't what's given. Now, the tendon I did tear off was my lat, and the week before I was at Temple and with Nama Dorje Chain Buddha III, and I was picking up a Vajraceptor, and it was like the heaviest one. It was 440 pounds.
Oh, man.
I went, but it's awkward. You can't get up onto it like a bar. Yeah. Because the spheres that are on it, on the sides of it, are huge. Yeah. And you can't get up on it. So you're actually pulling it from a really bad position. And I cracked it off the ground and then dropped it and was like, wow. And I'm kind of doing this. And he's like, I wouldn't, I don't listen. And he's like, I wouldn't do that contest in 3 weeks. Yeah. And I'm like, thank you. I went and did the contest. I should have listened.
But lesson learned.
Yeah, lesson learned. But yeah, so that's the only tendon I've ever hurt. So out of 40 years, like I said, your connective tissue, your tendons and ligaments, the muscle needs to get strong at the same rate as they do. If you're getting stronger faster than your connective tissue is, then that's where you're going to run into your catastrophes.
Yeah. And that's it too. And like I said, we're saying, we're targeting this to the new generation, but also to the masters generation, because it's like one of the main things is we want to make sure the sport excels in powerlifting and in strongman. And that's the thing too, is sometimes these are things that people don't honestly think about. You know what I'm saying?
Well, and as we get older, the tendons get stronger. Yeah. And that's something else people don't seem to realize, because there's that old man strength that everybody talks about. The dad comes out or grandpa comes out and they roll around with the kids, or they do something kind of crazy, pick something up that nobody expects them to do it. They're able to do it and not get hurt, but they're walking around sore for the next 5 days. Yeah. That's because the tendon and connective tissue are so strong they can handle it, but they're just not going to recover like they did when they were younger. So the problem is it loses its elasticity. So you have to concentrate and work on mobility work and flexibility as you get older, much more than actually. The strength actually still comes pretty good. Yeah. To my shock, the numbers come back pretty good and they climb at a nice steady rate. I have yet to see when I really start going, the progress gets slowed because of that. It's the mobility that I have the most challenge with now.
Yeah. And, I want to pivot from talking about ice baths and stuff like that. I want to get a little more into what happened last week.
To my learning experience last week.
Yes.
All right. Well, most of you know, I had renal cell carcinoma in my right kidney. It was a tumor. It ended up being about a third of the size of the kidney. And they got the tumor and the kidney out. Well, they got the kidney out with the tumor in it. So none of it leaked, none of it spilled. Cancer's out of my body. Life is great. Which
the road to recovery.
Yeah. But I now have one kidney, and to my biggest issue is all my tests have been pretty good. I learned a lot about the filtration rate, stuff like that. Like when you're a teenager, your filtration rate's up about 115. If you're perfectly healthy, by the time you get to 60, it's at 85. And then anything below 15 to 5, you got to start doing dialysis, that type of stuff. One kidney, so you cut those numbers in half, and those numbers will come up a little bit because in most cases your kidney will grow and take over a little bit, stuff like that, even as you get older. But that's the part I'm kind of learning about. But If you're not really going to be an endurance athlete anymore, because it's very easy to go into rhabdo.
Rhabdo. Can you explain what rhabdo is real quick, just so the people that don't know?
So you're doing traumatic things to the muscle in your body. So like if you get crushed, if you get too hard of a massage, if you work out too hard, your kidney has to filter all the toxins and everything from that out of your body. If you get too much of that at once in your body, it can shut down your kidney. And then you have to go get dialysis, and that is bad.
Yeah.
If you do it enough, you'll cause acute kidney injury, which will injure your kidney. And if you do that enough, it'll lower your filtration rate and eventually get it to where you'll either have to replace the kidney or you'll have to go on dialysis. Now, people now have lived up to 30 years on dialysis, but I don't know anybody that wants to get poked between 3 and 7 days a week, or have an open port.
Yeah.
Or I forgot the name of what it's actually called, to where they can just plug it in and you sit there. I know they have home units now where you can do it every single day.
Yeah.
But you're on it for an hour every day. You're stuck to that. When you travel, you're tied to the machine. And that's if you get the one that you can travel with. If you go to the hospital or go to the doctor's office all the time to get this, you are now stuck. You can't go more than a day or two before you have to go and get your dialysis. So it becomes like can you survive it? Yeah.
Yeah.
Does it become like a anchor or a ball and chain that sticks you in one place? Yeah. But like I said, they have the travel ones, stuff like that. But so I want to avoid that at all costs. I trained really hard, been getting after it pretty good, and then I missed a day and thought I would do what I did before. If I missed a day, sometimes I'll do 2 workouts in one day. So I put a really hard, intense, because I was on fire that day. I felt good. Back workout with a really intense shoulder workout, where I did biceps and calves and a little bit of abs at the same time. Yeah, I'm not doing that again. So my nephrologist, who went on a maternity leave right when I got out of the hospital from the nephrectomy, saw the numbers and like, well, there's nothing I can do for you. You look great. I'll see you in 4 months. She gets on, I did my blood test and stuff, and I did it probably 2 hours after I did that workout, maybe 3 hours after I did that workout. And she saw the numbers and she's like, you need to get to the hospital. I think you're having acute kidney failure. And I'm like, what? So, but I felt fine. I wasn't having any symptoms. I get to the hospital. My filtration rate is actually not bad.
Yeah.
It's right there where it's been the whole entire time. But there's another test where they can test you, like for rhabdo, stuff like that. And the number for dialysis is 5,000. Normal is, up to 350. I was at about 2,200. So I just overdid it. And doc thinks normally after a workout, I go somewhere probably in the 800s or 900s and then come down from that. And then I just completely overdid it that day. Okay. So I was at about 2,200. So they gave me 2 bags of fluid, which you need to flush your system when you get that. You actually need to drink more water. So they gave me 2 bags of fluid, and I drank probably 2 liters of water. And now I've been, going to the bathroom, and now I always have a glass of water or something with me. And now I'm drinking probably between 1.5 gallons and 2 gallons of water a day. And that seemed to help. As soon as we get done with this, I gotta go take another blood test. So now I'm gonna be going through a process where I took a week off. The test today will be where I'm at before I train. And I'm gonna have to go tomorrow and take another blood test for where it was after I trained, and then see how that goes and adjust the intensity. I also now We'll take 2 days off after leg day to let my body catch up and just an exorbitant amount of fluids. We're looking at a prescription from the doc so that I can go buy bags of fluid, IVs, and then my wife's an ER nurse, so she can administer those with the doctor's prescriptions. So, and then probably on a leg day when I train really hard, I'll take a bag of fluids and then drink a lot of fluids so I can get those in me and flush the system. And then probably then 2 days later, train chest and triceps, and probably throw in like 1 or 2 overhead and one side lateral, and that's it. And then take another day off, super hydrate, and then come back and do back, rear delts, and biceps. And that'll probably be my 3 days. And I'm probably going to talk to my training partners and switch from a 7-day cycle to maybe even an 8-day cycle, which is going to get really weird how things are going to bounce around.
Yeah. Because we've talked about this for a while.
Yeah. And get that extra day in there to just see how that functions. And then get back to normal, because I don't want to keep hurting my kidney. So I got to find that out. I reached out to Andy Bolton. He actually tried to call me back, but I was out in Overton at my mom's house, and the internet out there is terrible, and it dropped him. So he sent me a message to call him. So I'll probably reach out to him probably later today or tomorrow. I know it's already like 8 o'clock at night in England now. So I don't want to wait too much longer, and I got a ton of stuff to do today, so I might call him tomorrow.
There you go.
But yeah, it's just figuring that out. It was a good learning experience, and it's like Callie does love me.
And see, that's the thing.
She's freaking out, and I'm like, which thank God. So.
Well, it's good that your wife's a nurse, because let me tell you right now, when you're dealing with a serious situation like you're dealing with, it's good to have that knowledge there. And especially, like I said, if they can actually prescribe you fluids, and then you can just, what I'm saying, that in itself just helps so much more. You know what I'm saying?
It's going to be great. And then we'll see how that goes. And then that's kind of how my new norm will be. Like I said, I haven't really had any problems up till now. This was the first time I threw 2 different training days into one day. Yeah. And I now know that will not be happening.
Yeah. Cannot push the limit like that anymore. And with all that being said, how are you feeling towards your next competition coming up?
I feel pretty good for it. I feel really good to it. Now it's just now that I've pulled the 485 for 20, I'm going this week will be the first week. I'll probably put 600 on the bar and pull that from the floor, and just try to get comfortable bracing with that kind of pressure, because I know I can pull it all day long. So I just got to get comfortable bracing my abdomen into that kind of pressure again. Then I'll eventually work, over the next probably month or 2 to the 7s, then the next month or 2, just slowly move towards the 8s again, and then by late September, come after that powerlifting meet. Nice. Squats are going good. I've already come back to 775. So now that's basically, I've already hit the 770 is going to be my opener at the contest. Yeah. And then I'll probably jump to 815. And then depending on 815 and how that goes, then I'll decide where I go from there. My goal is somewhere between 837 and 859. Nice. So
nice. And yeah. With that, how has your bench been feeling? Because so I know a lot of people always express concern about when you drop the bar and how like stuff you're going. So it's like it's always something I like to touch upon, because it's like just a little mental check in, because the way you grab that bar is unbelievable, because it's like it's locked in there. I'm always there watching you bench.
Yeah, and so like I said, I think it was an act of
a higher power.
Yeah, that took it out of my hands, dropped it on my chest, because we wouldn't have found the kidney otherwise. So it was supposed to happen. That's the only thing I can think of.
Yeah.
Because it's been 40 years I've been doing this, and I've never dropped the bar myself.
Yeah.
I did 465 last week. Pretty good. I blew it off, caught it, and then finished it. And I was like, well, that was a lot easier than I thought it was going to be.
There we go.
So,
there we go.
But I think a lot of that, as I started doing pretty heavy dips again, I went up to 140 for a set of 8 on my dips, plus my body weight. So it's what, 440 I'm doing dips with. So I think that's going to be kind of a big factor to my bench at the contest is keep doing the heavy dips.
Yeah.
And they'll work in concert. And my left tricep is starting to fire even better now than it was. The nerve damage from the surgery is still there, but it's firing. Just like the lat. The lat, it's still numb in some places, but it still fires. So the only thing that matters is it fires.
Yeah.
So I just have to be careful because I can't feel it. So if something starting to tear, you just have to be very mindful of it.
Yeah. No, that's true.
Yeah.
And man, with that all being said, Nick, let me tell you right now, we've covered quite a bit today.
Oh, we got one more thing to cover.
Oh yeah. let the people know. Okay,
so I'm really kind of like want to get into. I have a few guns. I like to, I believe in the Second Amendment. I believe in defending our homes, and stuff like that. And I've always wanted to learn more about them. So the easiest way to do that is to learn from people in that industry.
Yes.
So I went down to Range 702 and talked to Chris down there, and Chris is like, "Well," she goes, "I'd hire you on the spot." I'm like, oh, "Okay." So I'm going to be down there a couple days a week, going through every part of that industry and business. I'm going to start at the bottom and kind of go through it. This is more fun thing for me more than anything, but I'm excited to go through all that and learn everything you can about guns and the tolerances and just everything. It's going to be a lot of fun. I'm really excited.
That's it. Nick's about to be a gunsmith here.
Well, I haven't even gotten the building yet, so
we'll keep you guys updated with that.
Yeah,
and if you guys are in the Las Vegas area, the name of the gun place is again?
Range 702. Range 702. So it's right off of Industrial. It's right there, right by the Strip. So it's off of Industrial. It's right across from the Hustler Club. Right off the 15. So just past Tropicana, just before Russell.
There we go. And if you want to see Nick there when you come down, guess what? He'll be there. You just got to find out what days he will be.
Yeah.
As soon as we get the schedule, we might let you know.
That's true. Yeah, I'm going to be actually walking people through shooting the weapons because they have like Barretts and machine guns and 911s and Quadzilla, which is a
monstrosity of a gun.
Yeah, it's four fully automatic AR-15s, each with 100 rounds, and it's all sighted at 25 feet, and you can actually aim this thing and hit stuff with it. But so you got 400 rounds coming out in about 4 seconds.
That's it. That's it. I can only imagine the feeling in the chest.
Well, it's on a stand, so you don't have to hold it. Yeah. It's not like the Barrett that's going to knock the wind out of you. So it's a little different, but it's fun. So yeah, I guess I'll be in there helping people shoot those and going through some of that stuff, and then eventually I'll get behind the counter and work on the sales of that, and then eventually get into the gunsmithing side of it and just go through it all. Because the only way to really learn something is to go through it, start at the bottom. And I did that with the beer business. I was in that business for 20 years. I started out as a merchandiser. That's the lowest position you can go to, and worked my way, I'm to the point now where I can run the on-premise, I can run the off-premise. I could theoretically be a general manager of I know enough to be a general manager of a distributorship now. So that's it.
Well, guess what? You're about to learn to be a general manager for a gun company. Because Nick, when you do something, you do it all the way. That's just who you are and what you do.
Yeah, I like to go through one step at a time, though. So
That's it.
first steps, and I don't feel I'm any better than anyone else. I just want to come in and learn.
That's it.
And I thank Chris for the opportunity to do that. And if you guys don't follow Range 702, you should.
That's it. Well, I'll put their Instagram in the bottom so you guys can make sure you check it out. Well, Nick, thanks for the update with everything going on. You know what I'm saying? Hit these people with the beautiful words.
Well, thank you. Like, share, and subscribe. And as always, train hard, train smart, and be the best you can be. Thank you.